Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Wow Wednesday. I am your host, Nancy Matthews, one of the founders of Women's Prosperity Network. And today we have a special guest who is going to be leading a conversation so that we can all discover the leader within. So Joy Harris is with us today, and I'll bring her on in just a moment. And as always, I want to make sure that you are aware and up to date on all of the extraordinary events that we've put together to bring you together with one another to connect, collaborate, mastermind, and create extraordinary results. So here's a couple of things we've got coming up. As always, you can go to our events calendar. Simply go to womensprosperityNetwork.com and you'll see the events tab, and we've got everything laid out for you, easy for you to join us. And first of all, this Friday, April 14th at 3 p.m. Eastern, you've probably heard about artificial intelligence and ChatGPT, and you're either terrified by it or excited by it or somewhere in between. This Friday, we are doing a webinar with my dear friend and colleague, Ronnie Tsunami, who's going to be sharing how to use these tools to 10 times your productivity, to save you time, energy, money, and make it really, really easy and streamlined for you to create content, for you to create programs. I'm so excited for what we're going to be doing together this Friday. And that's free. So go ahead and sign up for that. Next Tuesday, our Networking with a Twist, where you get the opportunity not just to promote yourself and share in the chat, but you get to build real connections. So join us for that, Tuesday, the 18th of April. And then on April 26th, we have a special Summit that we're doing. And this is a co-hosted event with Itty Bitty Publishing and Susie Pruden, where we'll be bringing you 15 women entrepreneurs who are part of the Itty Bitty WPN Experts anthology book, giving you bite-sized nuggets of wisdom and tips to grow yourself and your business, as well as masterminding and connecting. So it's a really, really fun format. And you can, again, get all the information for that at our website, womensprosperityNetwork.com. And as you're taking a look at all of the events that you want to join us in and connect with this extraordinary community, when you do so, you're going to end up seeing Joy Harris on the platform. And Joy Harris is an amazing leader and success coach. And today we're going to be talking with her about how to discover the leader within. And let me share a little bit about her background, and then we will dive in. So Joy comes to Women's Prosperity Network with a background in both the corporate world and entrepreneurship. She spent over 25 years leading virtual teams, implementing complex technology projects for Fortune 400 companies. And when I think about virtual teams over 25 years, like, we're used to virtual now, but she's been doing it for a long time. In the 1990s, Joy obtained her certification for project management, as well as pursuing certifications in healing touch, Reiki, and other healing modalities. Leading projects was the primary source of her income, but she could not let go of energy work and the side hustle of stress management, coaching people to help women find relaxation and joy in their life. And she is all about finding the joy, and I'm looking forward to our conversation today. Welcome, Joy.
Thank you, Nancy. It's a privilege to be here.
It's wonderful to have you. And I want to start off by asking you a little bit about this interesting combination of being in project management and corporate and then energy work. Like, my brain thinks those two things don't go together, but obviously you found a beautiful synergy. So can you share a little bit how that blend came to be?
Well, as you can imagine, project management in the corporate world is so left brain and so analytical and by the book and deadlines and decisions. I just had to do something that filled my spirit a little bit more. And once I became aware, I was certified in 1995 from our local hospital in healing touch. And hospitals use healing touch even today. And I just wanted to have that sense of balance, the project work. And I was surprised to find women in high corporate positions that grow their own herbs and, know about crystals and things like that. It doesn't seem like a likely combination, but I really focused on what we used to call the soft skills because I had a team to do all the technical skills, but I focused on the motivation and teaching each team member to be the best team they can be. And fortunately, some of these Fortune 400 companies, I even worked for one Fortune 100 company, but I was fortunate enough to have the companies that at least have the words of family and work balance. There are companies that don't even have that in their vernacular, but I was fortunate enough to have a lot of projects, even recently, with very high level companies that want you to take care of yourself so that you can be a better team member. But that's my rationale for really digging into both of those sides of myself.
I love it. I love it. And it's great to hear that so many corporations are now embracing the importance of having happy, stress-free employees so that they recognize now how important that is in terms of the contribution and productivity to the company.
There's still a lot of work to do, and the higher up women get in corporate America, sometimes they feel very lonely. I think we've spoken about this. It's lonely at the top, and they are making waves. They are saying there are ways that we can do this better. And that's the women that I'm there to support, to make sure that they have the confidence to continue to be a leader.
Yeah.
I led lunch and learn programs for project managers and directors and above even. And anytime there was an opportunity to get a perk, like, would anybody like to lead some lunch and learn? And I would do conflict resolution, I would do time management, and all of the, again, what they call soft skills, but I call them power skills. I say these are the power behind getting the work done. So I have a lot of experience, even in the corporate environment, with working with individuals for their self-care and their joy, bringing them joy and confidence to their lives.
I love it. Well, so let's talk a little bit about this concept of discovering the leader within. And number one, there may be some people listening in who don't necessarily think of themselves as leaders. Can you touch upon that a little bit?
In fact, that's what I started out to talk to women about, bringing out their confidence. And I assumed that they had leadership skills. They just needed to really put them in place. But you're right. There are so many women that are ready to lead a project or a campaign in their own business, but they either lack the leadership skills, they need to spend some time finessing their leadership skills, or they don't really believe in them. They feel like, well, we're just going to go about this willy-nilly and it's all going to be successful. But there is a style to leadership, and it's more than just managing, because managing the work is something a project manager does, but actually leading the team is building every one of your team members to be a leader in their own work and their own contribution to the team and to the project. So you're right. There are women that don't think of themselves as leaders, but I'm here to bring that out. I can't teach confidence, but I can help bring it out.
I love that. I can't teach confidence because you already have it, right? So now it's just a matter of dusting off whatever's covering it up or getting in the way so that you can step into that next level of leadership. And what I know is that whether you are leading teams in a corporation, leading people on your team, if you have a virtual assistant or partners that you're working with, or leading your customers and your prospects to the solution, right? Everything in your business is about who we're being as leaders.
Mhm.
So let's talk a little bit about some of the stuff that does, cover up the confidence that's within. So how do we begin to tap into a higher level of self-leadership?
Well, I have a formula of 6 or 7 steps to self-mastery. And one of them is learning where your boundaries are. And you set your boundaries for yourself, but you set your boundaries for others. And whether those are non-negotiable boundaries or whether it's a flexible boundary, maybe no one can get away with this but your grandmother. So you may have a flexible boundary, or you may want to reevaluate your boundaries every year and say, life changes, circumstances change. Is this really how I feel about this? But once you set your boundaries, is maintaining those, really saying, this is who I am. This is what I believe. This is what I stand for. And I'm not going to waver. This is my boundaries, and that's what I've said.
So let's talk a little bit about, this whole concept of setting boundaries and why that can be so challenging. Especially if we're looking at, making someone else unhappy or saying no, or feeling like you're letting people down. Like, I know for me, that was one of the things I used to struggle with quite a bit. So can you, let's uncover that a little bit more.
Okay. In the corporate world, they talk about giving you the scope of your project. And if you say, oh, but this would be a good idea too, it's called gold plating your project. So
I never heard that before.
So you don't want to just gold plate. You need to do what you were assigned to do within the budget and within the time. But even when you're a solopreneur, you need to set your boundaries around what you mean to accomplish and be very specific about adding something in the middle of the way, or you'll never get it finished. And you'll send mixed signals to your VA and the rest of your team.
I am loving this conversation because it's something I have dealt with myself, and I see so many entrepreneurs. It's like, and you get this in coaching, right? You're coaching someone, you create a path. This is what we're going to do step by step. And then they get an email and says, oh, come to this thing. And then, so it pulls you off course. So how do we set up boundaries? And it sounds to me like this is boundaries for where we will put our time and attention. Not only our dollars, but our time and attention.
That's absolutely another key ingredient for self-mastery, because when I talk about budgeting your dollars is one thing, and budgeting your time is really important to me. I'm a time-based worker. I even set aside time to watch replays, but you need to think about your boundaries for your attention. What do you really give your attention to? And make sure that it's uplifting and that it's what you need at the time. And if you find yourself going down a rabbit hole, I mean, come on, we've all watched Netflix, we've all binged a whole thing, and maybe that's what you need at the time. But then when you look at where you're spending your time, is that really what I want to do? I think I could have had another hour watching an important replay that I signed up for but couldn't attend, instead of getting lost down a rabbit hole. So your time and attention is as important as your budgeting your dollars.
Love that. And another thing that I've observed, and I'd love to get your take on this, is continuing to sign up for things because you think you need this thing in order to be successful. So one of the things that I look at before making a purchase or an investment of time, attention, or money is, do I really need this? Is this necessary? Will it get me to my goal? Or is it because I don't have enough confidence to jump out there yet? I think I need this first, right?
I think you mentioned the word goals. So that is another key way to keep yourself on track. Because like you said, you or your client can get an email that just spins them in a totally different direction. And so when you bring them back to the goals or the roadmap or the what we were intending, I generally like to work with women on a quarterly basis or a 10 to 12 weeks. And that's a lot of aha moments. But what I'm really looking for is a transformation. So I like at least 10 to 12 weeks, but then bring us back to what were our original goals? What are we planning to? And we may have some nuggets along the way. Without gold plating, we may pick up some things, but it's really important to stay focused on what our original intention was, because there are plenty more goals and intentions and mountains to climb. Once we unravel everything along a certain path or a certain goal, there's plenty more. There's more peaks to climb.
Love that. Love that. All right. So we're talking about ways to set some boundaries, prioritize yourself, to really discover that leader within. So we talked about boundaries as it relates to time and attention. Let's talk about some of the other. You said you have 6. So give us a couple more. And then I do know that you're offering a class soon, and we'll tell you more about that later, and she'll go deeper into all of these things that she's discussing. So we got boundaries. We talked about priorities. What else do we have that we can use?
Well, when you're unpacking what your goals are and what your perceived obstacles are, you can come up with overwhelm. Because believe me, I know, I've been there. And overwhelm is something that you want to discuss and talk out so that you don't have surprises. When you manage your making sure you're not headed to burnout, because burnout is really a serious issue, because burnout not only wastes your time in your work and building your business, but it costs you money, and the overwhelm can cause disease. And the disease causes disease, because the statistics are there that says stress is a leading, killer with the heart disease and many other things. So managing your overwhelm and then thinking about your healthy habits. So I'm not here to give you your workout habits and your movement and even your meal plans, because those are all healthy habits. But I'm talking about healthy emotional habits and your emotional habits of positive self-talk. Making sure that when you're a leader and you are building a leadership that others can see, you're not just having the title or saying, I'm the leader here. You are radiating that leadership. And so that's really important. And that's how team members perceive people that come in with a title. They want to see that leadership, not just the title behind it. Or you're a business owner and you've hired your VAs. But if you don't talk to them in a way that shows you respect yourself and that you respect them as individuals. See, that's the thing. No matter if your team is one additional person, and I've led teams of hundreds, and it's very hard to get to each individual person. But when you spend the time to learn a little bit more about people, you can give them reasons to have positive self-talk, and you can help them with coping skills, even if it's in a group. You can move to coping skills so that they can identify what they would do if a certain situation triggers them. What is their recovery if that happens? And that's something that you can talk through with a coach. Well, this happened today. And how did you react? How would you wish you had reacted?
Right, 2 different things sometimes, right?
That's right.
Well, and I think that point about how we respond and react and the distinction between those really is what can set us apart as leaders. Not to say that we don't have occasional emotional outbursts. I mean, let's face it, look what happened to Will Smith. He had a emotional outbreak, and in what I've read about that is, he was, on that fine line. It was like the straw that broke the camel's back. It wasn't necessarily what Chris Rock said. It was one thing piled on another, which is why that self-care is so important for us, right? Because you don't realize when you're reaching the burnout or when you're reaching that breaking point, or maybe there are some clues that we could look for.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And that is one of those things to evaluate. Some of the examples that I get is that women don't feel like they're respected. They go into the boardroom and they're the only woman. And if there is a snicker, or if there is consensus among, oh, that's not a good idea, it's contagious. So you really have to be the leader. You have to believe that you are the leader within to pick that up and get over that snicker or that one negative comment, because the very next slide or the very next bit of information you were going to present may be what turns minds around. And they say, well, we haven't tried anything like that, so let's try it that way. But if you don't have the confidence, one bit of negative talk in a meeting can derail you.
Absolutely.
So thinking about how you'll react in advance is a technique to be a leader.
Absolutely. And the analogy I would make for that scenario for entrepreneurs or solopreneurs is you get so excited about your business and your vision and your new idea, and then you go home and you tell somebody in your family about it and they go, well, that's stupid. That'll never work. Right? It's the same thing. So being able to withstand, and what Vishen Lakhani refers to is building our self-confidence and our belief in ourselves through self-talk, as you discussed, building that so much so that you become unmess-withable. Like nobody can mess with me. Go say what you want, but I know what I'm here to do, what I'm here to achieve. And this requires practice. Right? It requires perspective, which is why you want to get with coaches such as Joy to help us see what we can't and guide in that journey. And it does take time. So I love that you say you work with people generally over, 3 or 6 months, because it's a process to get through all that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I enjoy hearing where people are in their lives and what their challenges are. And some of them are not new. They have the same challenges in feeling like a leader, because I'm now working with scientists, engineers, directors, and I've interviewed vice president level women. And the recurring thread is confidence. They don't have confidence. So again, drawing out that confidence is part of building a leader.
Yeah. Well, and it's surprising to hear this. Scientists, engineers, top level executives, you would think they must have confidence if they've gotten all that success. But what's really going on underneath and what they're feeling is similar to what so many feel at various levels, no matter what it looks like on the outside. So let's talk about this a little bit, because I think as leaders, we have a responsibility to stand strong, to display confidence. But how do you do that if you're not really feeling it?
It's part of standing up for yourself and standing up for who you are. And sometimes we have to take a step back and decide, well, who are we really? And how do we want to project ourselves? And I'll use the example of hiring a virtual assistant, because I've been there. I've hired a virtual assistant, and we will hear that virtual assistant didn't do what I wanted her to do, or that virtual assistant had her own ideas. However, what I'm hearing is Did you make it very clear? Did you check on it every step of the way? You hire a virtual assistant because of their talents and their skills, and you want them to speak up with, well, I think I have a better way. I know how to get this done. However, keeping them on track and having that goal and that target and that deadline of what you want to accomplish, and making it very clear to a VA that this is what we're going to do at this time. And I like to do it along with them. I will even say, well, just do a few of those and get back with me and let me review them. So that you don't let them get off on the wrong track or on their own track where they had maybe very good intentions. But if you don't become a good leader in your own business, then you're just moving all over the place. And I like to have a plan, whether it's a campaign for a new email series or whatever it is. You have a plan and you want to stick with it, but you need your VA to stick with it as well. You need your team to be on the same page, shooting at the same target.
I love that. You need your team to be on the same page, shooting at the same target. And may I say, as the leader, your job is to define the target. Right?
Absolutely.
Your team, their responsibility is to come up with strategies to get to that target, which is why other ideas and other minds are great, but you got to know where you're going.
And that's what a lot of team members, you want them to be a leader in their own work, and they have their own targets. They know the details of how to get to what you need them to do, but the overall target, and I've even had a slide presentation with a little, with the bullseye and the little target, and every slide brings back to, this is what we are set out to accomplish. You'll have your own targets and you'll have your own, goals within the project, but knowing that we're all shooting to the same target is an important part of project leadership and leadership in general.
Yeah, I love it. You want to do that for your business. You want to do that for your family, the communities that you're a part of. Like, it's all so key is to, come together with a vision and a goal that's aligned. Good. My friend, as expected, this conversation went very fast because we're talking about some of the favorite things I love to discuss, leadership and how we can get to self-mastery of ourselves, which is the key to success in all areas. And I love that you apply a system, which is all about getting there through joy, feeling good, taking care of yourself, setting boundaries. And as everyone here can well imagine, this is just the tip of the iceberg of what joy has to offer. So if you would, we're going to open up for questions, comments, insights, ahas. I'll get that set up. And then please, Joy, let everybody know you've got a workshop coming up. So tell them all about that.
All right. Next Wednesday night, that's April 19th, and it's 8 p.m. for the Eastern time zone. So that's 5 p.m. on Pacific. And it is a discussion on leadership. So I plan to have open discussions where women can speak about their personal challenges. And we're going to do some hot seat coaching so that we hear what other women are experiencing about bringing out the leader within. And we're going to talk about some of those same tips that I mentioned. And it starts at 8 p.m. because it's Working Women Wednesday, and every woman is a working woman.
Yeah.
So we're going to assume they've had some dinner in the Eastern time zone. They've had some dinner, and maybe the children are in bed or getting story time, so that they have some me time, and they have that time where they can really think about being better leaders and being leaders all together. And it starts next Wednesday at 8 p.m. on Zoom.
All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. So next Wednesday, and is there an investment for the workshop?
It is free. It is an open discussion, so it
Wow.
is free. Mhm.
Thank you for that beautiful gift.
Mhm.
So I put the link in the chat, and for those who are with us on the phone, you can go to bit.ly/joy lead, JOYLEAD. And let's lead with joy. I love that. That's so good. All right, we are going to go ahead and take some callers right now. So if you have a question, comment, or insight you'd like to share, go ahead and hit *6 on your phone. If you are with us on Facebook, you can go ahead and put it in the comments, and I'll be sure to bring the question to Joy. And let's get started with Dr. Roz is in the house. I think I saw your hand up, Dr. Roz. Yep, there you go. You should be able to talk now.
Okay, that was
There we go.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. You're loved, appreciated, celebrated, valued, and most cherished. Joy, joy, joy. You know why you were, all I could think about is when I was little, with my mother still giving me information like you gave, but in little people terms. And I was just thinking, I've got joy, 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 joy down in my heart to not be stressed. This was so good. I did have a question. I should have typed it because there was something that you said, and I might have to say that for Wednesday. But bottom line, I needed this today. I went into my clubhouse. They've done some changes with the clubhouse. Lady Darlene may be here. And when you don't think that you're resistant to change, but it just gave me an emotional turbulence, like I was on a bad flight, and I just couldn't get it. But this has been awesome.
You're grounded again.
Yes.
Yeah. Beautiful.
God. Thank you so much for this. And yes, joy can help y'all. Y'all better get on.
Thank you, Dr. Roz.
Big room of 100 plus women. I love you, Joy. Thank you, Nancy.
You are most welcome. Thank you for showing up and bringing your light to all of us. I appreciate you. Yeah. And I'll go ahead and open up for our next caller in a moment. I want to take just a second to say thank you to Nicole Truss, who is listening in through Facebook, and she has done a beautiful job of capturing some of the golden nuggets that you shared. So shout out to Nicole Truss for taking care of our community in this beautiful way. Let's go. Next caller, phone number is 907-750. Good morning. Your line is open.
Good morning. It's Betsy Miller. Oh my gosh.
I know, right?
I'm driving to my mom's. I had to pull over to unmute my mic because, I normally don't do this, but oh my gosh, Joy, thank you so much. I have been taking a step back and just really kind of diving into myself and figuring out what I need as far as coaching and leadership so that I can be a better leader. And I was in the middle of typing while I was driving the link so I could go and register for your workshop. I cannot wait for this workshop. Thank you so much. And once again, WPN for delivering exactly what we need.
You're welcome. And it shows up by just listening and having amazing people like you and like Joy in our community. I mean, come on. I can't go wrong on Wow Wednesday with this pool.
This was a wow Wednesday. So thank you both so much. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Beautiful. Thank you. And enjoy your drive. Let's go ahead to our next caller, Laura Barker.
There we go. Good morning, Joy. Wow, I just love everything that you are saying about leadership. It is so spot on. And so I have two questions, though. One is practical and one is philosophical, I guess. But I'm guessing you see a lot of imposter syndrome when you're speaking with women at high levels. Would you say that's so? So that's the first question. And the second question has to do with tools that you might use for time management and or other systems that you like to recommend.
Okay, great. Thanks, Laura. Well, imposter syndrome, I have experienced it myself. So anytime you are set up and introduced as a leader, is there self-doubt that creeps in? Sometimes there is. So I have experienced, and it's just the example that I said, that someone can snicker or someone can inadvertently make a comment to derail you, and you have a good solid presentation, and you know what, but especially if you're presenting brand new ideas, again, whether it's to a small team or a boardroom full of people, it takes a lot for people to, we talked about change and accepting change or being resistant to change.
Mhm.
But when you lead a project or a campaign, you're implementing change, and everybody needs to get on board with that. You're implementing change, and stand up for yourself, be a good leader, believe in yourself. And I can't just say it and make it happen. You just really need to peel away the layers of that onion to get to the core and to get to who you really are and how you want to project yourself to the world. And when you know that it's there, you found it at least one time, it's still there. It's still there. You have to uncover it before the meeting. And I have tips and tools and techniques related to, a lot of them are related to stress management, because it's something, visualizing the best end result and writing out how you would react in a certain situation. There are a lot of tools. And you mentioned tools about time management. So I am using Clockify, and Clockify tracks the amount of time that I spend doing something. And so all of you experts on here that say, well, it should take, 5 or 10 minutes to make a certain change. Oh, not me, not me, technology and implementing it myself, the hands-on part of technology. How am I going to know if it really takes me 30 minutes? Because a web developer or someone more skilled can do it in 5 and 10 or 10 minutes, but I literally time myself for tasks. And
Very good.
All of us have to be at a meeting at 10 and it's 2 till 10. We know what can get done. Can I refill my water? What can I do?
Can I go to the bathroom?
Right. But it's really budgeting your time and then using the Google Calendar. And I have a CRM and a tool that I use for a lot of things, just getting started using it, but using the tools to help make your work happen, quicker.
Love it. Thank you.
Awesome. Good stuff. And I think that was called Clockify. So it's Clockify.
Mm-hmm. And it's a free tool. So
Beautiful.
You are really setting a timer, but it's more advanced than just a timer. And then you can look at, well, I said I was going to do this for an hour and it's been a couple of hours.
I know. Coach Carey just shared something that I've experienced myself. She said, I thought I could learn a new tech in an afternoon. Meanwhile, 5 days later, all right. Oh, this looks easy.
That's me.
Yeah. And that's where hiring someone else to do it for you who already knows is a worthwhile investment. Like if you got to pay somebody $200 or $500 to do something that was going to take you 5 days to still not get done. And I know I've been through this, hiring someone, it might feel like, oh, I don't know. But if you step out in faith, you'll find you can reclaim that time in so many better ways. So I've been there. I can relate. All right, Laura, thank you for those great questions. And we'll go ahead and open up for some more callers in a moment. I want to remind everyone, Joy's got a workshop to take this conversation deeper next week. And you want to go to bit.ly bit.ly/joy lead, JOYLEAD, all lowercase, all one word. So bit.ly/joy lead. And I'm going to bring you a question from Facebook from Nicole, who says, how do you demonstrate leadership when people seem to be in a culture of comfortability and almost instinctually attacking anything they can? It seems a large number of people are looking for negativity or looking for a fight or something to be wrong with what you're saying, even when it doesn't exist. How do we gently get people to get on the same page? That's a big question.
And I could tell 2 stories about that, of how I've experienced those very situations. And in the interest of time, I'll just try to hit on one story. And it was about the merger of 2 very large corporations, 2 large corporations. So you have 2 customer service managers, 2 accounting managers. You have, you're not going to end up with 2.
I know, 2 cooks in the kitchen. I don't know.
There is consolidation of systems and there's consolidation of people. And so the more pleasant you are about wanting to see everything succeed, the more likely you will be the one chosen for that one manager position, or you'll have a different management position because they want to keep you. They see you as a team player. But during this huge merger, I was, we'll say, merely a project manager, and other managers and director level people were on my team, and they said, oh no, I'm a director of a whole division, but when I'm on your team, I'm a team member. So it is that change mindset. It's not going to be, and in today's fast-paced market of bringing a product to the market, and I don't have as much experience bringing a product to the market. It's more, mine have been technology projects, but things are going to change.
Yeah.
And that needs to be in your forefront. You're a change agent. You're a change maker. You accept change. And
yeah, very good. Very good. And the other nuance I see, in addition to what you said is, and Laura commented, it's about what's the tone that you're setting in these environments. And that's a great story about how it applies when you're bringing teams together, or when there's, known conflict, or when you as a leader need to be a follower, or when you're a leader and you have other leaders you're working with, like so many dynamics there. And the other thing that came to mind for me with this question, this concept that people seem to be in a culture of looking for negativity, or maybe not necessarily negativity, but views or opinions and comments contrary to what you think and believe. So where I go, and I've had this happen with people commenting on a post on social media, and I was like, oh, I didn't think that kind of came out of left field. I wasn't expecting that. So where I go with that is to get curious and ask questions. Well, that's an interesting perspective. Can you tell me a little bit more why you believe that, or why you posted that, or why you think that way? So anytime you're, as a leader, for me, when somebody comes in with a contrary or opposing view or position, I get curious, because obviously there's a gap between us, and it goes back to that respond or react. So my response is to be curious and interested in how they came to that idea, conclusion, or position. So tell me more about that, because that's the way that's another nuance you can go with leadership.
And thank you for allowing me to address the second part of that question, that was put in Facebook, because that's another one of my stories. I was being interviewed to come on to a project, and most of my career has been project-based. You're not going to be there forever. You come on to a project. This one was already fully engaged. So I was another project manager, not the one and only project manager. And one of my interview questions was, what would I do if someone is always a negative naysayer and they come to your meetings and disrupt the agenda? And my answer was, as I think it would be today, that I would tell the person, oh, that's a different nuance. We hadn't thought about that.
Right.
Put 15 minutes on my calendar later this week. I'd like to hear more. But
Perfect.
meanwhile, the next item on the agenda, and don't allow them to derail the conversation
I
or the
love that.
agenda.
I love
And
that.
she did turn out to be a valuable team member, because when you're starting a team and you would like to, there is no, I could have told you that wouldn't work. There is no going back on that kind of thing. So you do want people to speak up. You want them to say, in our past, that we've tried that and it didn't work. But this woman was argumentative, and I would give her extra time to give me some, confrontation, and I would just quell it outside of our big meetings.
Beautiful.
And
that's and obviously this person needed to be heard. So you were responding to their human desire of a need to be heard and validated rather than dismissive. And that creates greater relationships. Like, that's leadership, my friend. Beautiful. All right, let's go. Couple more callers before we wrap up today. Let's go to Olivia Jones.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I have a question regarding balance. Oftentimes you talk about being stress-free, and you're setting your goals and you're reaching for those goals, and you're the one that everyone is looking to as the leader to influence, impact, and transform. There's the possibility of experiencing burnout. So I'm wondering what your tools are that you would use to help you cope with burnout, and then not feeling guilty when you feel like, okay, I just need to step back and take that time to nurture me.
Good question. Great questions.
To be able to pour into without feeling guilty, because like, oh my gosh, I need to be, constantly doing,
go.
being.
And that's the way of the world, isn't it? Because even when you are really, we'll just use parent teacher, the PTA meetings or something. You've been busy all day and you've been making decisions, important decisions, meeting deadlines, motivating team members, and you go to the PTA, but you still emerge as a leader if you think of yourself as a leader. And I know I have been to many meetings optional meetings where I sit on my hands so I don't volunteer for something else. But being respectful of your own time, but still giving everything you have at the PTA meeting. And Nancy mentioned that when she was talking about your boundaries with family and with your personal life. So one of the things that I talk about a lot and work with women about is your me time. And it's your most exceptional time. And it's as important as putting it on your calendar to go to the gym, and putting it on your calendar to go to yoga class, or to do your meal prep on the weekends, to actually have me time. And each woman gets to decide for themselves what success means and what me time is. And me time is not finding more classes to get continuing education units. It's not sitting down and making your to-do list. It really is your relaxation time, your me time, and it could be journal writing, and it's different for everyone, but literally taking the time to figure out what it is for you, what is your me time. And
thank you so much.
That was really good. That was really good. And I would consider this, because I believe, Olivia, so add in, just to layer on to what Joyce shared, I believe you are a woman of faith, and you believe, that you're taken care of and provided for. And when you take that me time to acknowledge any guilt that might show up, you want to start by acknowledging it, and then recognize, oh, that's just a little bit of fear showing up. I know that I'm taken care of and provided for, and that through God, all things are possible. And that rest actually helps me build my business.
Amen, Nancy. Oh, thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome.
Thank you. Thank
Yeah,
you.
because sometimes, and I've been there, oh, I should be doing this, this, and this, and this, and I recognize that talk track is actually fear-based
Mm,
rather than faith-based.
Thank you, Nancy. Oh my gosh. Thank you.
Good
You're
point.
welcome.
Good point.
All right, let's keep on going. We should have time for one more caller. So Evis Ramirez, good morning. Your line is open.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you so much. This is such an important topic. And I missed a little bit in the beginning, and I wanted to ask, what do you mean about power
Skills.
and then people skills, to talk a little bit more about people skills.
Okay, thank you. In business, a lot of times, if you are developing a website and it's a technical skill, they call it the hard skills. The hard skills, and motivating the team is a soft skill.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm calling them your power skills. These are your power skills to take up for yourself, to have self-confidence, to have self-mastery, and to believe in yourself. And when you work on yourself, then you have filled up your well to share with others. And that's where the people skills come in. You can, drive a lecture, and you can prepare slides, and you can tell them how to have more confidence and how to do this and that. But if you're not showing that, if you're not showing up as a leader, it doesn't necessarily even get through to them. So it is an important fact to be the leader that you want to see in other people, and to believe that everyone, even if they are the developer of the website, or they're the web host, or whoever they play a role on your team, you want them to feel like the leader. You want them to feel like a leader of their own work. And that is, people skills and soft skills, or power skills for women.
So empowering them. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for your question.
Good. Yeah, great question. And I love talking about that stuff, those people skills, and tied into that, the more confidence you have relates to your emotional intelligence. Because when we respond defensively, argumentatively, like all of our response or reactions to things, really is driven by our level of EQ, emotional intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
And you build your emotional intelligence by self-confidence, self-belief, valuing others. Like, it's all interwoven, and it's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Awesome. Miss Joy, thank you so much for being with us today and pouring into our community so beautifully. Again, everyone, I want you to continue with Joy and join her for the class next week. Go to bit.ly/Joy Lead. As we wrap up today, my friend, any final thoughts or comments that you want to share with the audience?
Well, I appreciate everyone for being here today, and I would look for everyone to think about what their strengths and weaknesses are, because once they identify their own strengths and weaknesses, they can build on their strengths, and they can take a look at the weaknesses and either outsource it or build their weakness into a strength.
Powerful. Love that. Love that golden nugget to cap us off. I want to say thank you to everyone for joining us for this week's Wow Wednesday. Be sure to visit womensprosperityNetwork.com. Go to the events tab. We've got lots of great opportunities to connect, collaborate, and create extraordinary results together. So do join us. Joy, thank you for bringing joy to our Wow Wednesday.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for being
love
here.
That.
I appreciate it very much.
Awesome. Beautiful. Get out there, my friends. Make it a Wow Wednesday, and we'll see you next week. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Bye, Joy.
Thank you. Goodbye.